Hey everyone, it's Justin again. Welcome to our next video on adding and subtracting negative integers. In our last video, we learned how to add and subtract negative integers using a number line. Just like base 10 blocks are not the fastest method for adding and subtracting, neither is drawing a number line every time. Let's explore some patterns and then discover some methods to solve addition and subtraction problems with negative and positive integers. In today's lesson, you'll learn how to add and subtract both positive and negative integers. Be sure to have your PDF printed for some practice problems, and let's get into it. First, find this chart in your PDF. We'll be filling this out throughout this video. Let's take a moment to see if we can use any of our patterns from our last video to rewrite these problems. Remember, adding a negative integer is the same as subtracting a positive integer. And subtracting a negative integer is the same as adding a positive integer. For example, number 1 is just adding a positive number, so no need to change that. Number 3, however, can be written as negative 459 minus 46. Pause the video and take a moment to fill in the rewrite column now. Great. Let's see how you did. Now, I want you to use your best number sense to determine if the final answer to the problem will be positive or negative. No need to find the final answer yet, just whether it will be positive or negative. Let's try a couple together. Negative 35 plus 105. If we imagine a number line starting at negative 35 and then move to the right 105, we'll definitely end up in the positive numbers. So the final answer will be positive. What about negative 459 minus 46? Well, starting at negative 459 and then moving to the left 46 more will certainly leave us in the negative numbers. Pause the video now and try the rest on your own. Great job. How was your number sense? Let's look for some patterns. Notice for both addition and subtraction, when the number that is further from 0 is negative, the answer is negative. When the number that is further from 0 is positive, the answer is positive. Now, what about that final answer? Let's use the number line a few more times to help us figure out what's going on. For number 1, we already determined that if we start at negative 35 and move to the right 105 spaces, we'll end up with a positive number. But what number? I don't really want to count 105 spaces, do you? What if we break it up? First, move to the right 35. Where does that leave us? Yeah, right at 0. So how much further do we have to go? We've traveled 35, and we need to travel a total of 105. So that means we just need to go 70 more. Negative 35 plus positive 35 plus another 70 brings us to positive 70. How did we get 70? Well, remember to find the difference between two numbers, we subtract them. We know we needed to move 105 spaces in total, and we already moved 35. So to find the remaining difference, we just subtracted 105 minus those 35 we already moved, and found that the answer is 70. You might have noticed something interesting about this problem. Negative 35 plus 105 is the same thing as 105 minus 35. This is because as long as the negative number stays negative and the positive number stays positive, it actually doesn't matter what order you add them together. Now we have another tool to help us solve these problems. Let's walk through another together. Number 2 has us start at positive 104 and move to the left 192. We will end up in the negative numbers, but where will we land? We find ourselves in a similar situation as number 1. we can see from our number line that 104 plus something else will add up to 192. And we could find that something else by doing 192 minus 104. This equals 88. And since we're in the negatives, we see when we subtract 192 from 104, we land at negative 88. How about number 3? If we start all the way at negative 459 and move to the left 46 more, where will we end up? Combining two negative numbers is very similar to adding two positive numbers. In other words, if I start at negative 459 and then I move to the left 46 more, I can add those numbers together to see how far we are from 0. Positive 459 plus positive 46 is 505. So that tells me that negative 459 plus negative 46 is negative 505. One more that I bet we don't even need a number line for. After using our rules to rewrite the equation, number 4 turned into 65 plus 96. And we are experts at adding positive numbers. So our answer is positive 161. Let's take a moment to look for some patterns before we finish the rest of those problems. Pause the video and write down patterns or observations you notice about these first 4 problems. Ready? Let's see what's going on. In problems 1 and 2, we ended up subtracting the two numbers, and then the final answer was either the positive or negative version of that number, which we had already determined. What do those problems have in common? There are two different signs present. You might be thinking, well, 104 minus 192 only has one sign, a minus sign, but we can think of positive numbers as having an invisible plus sign in front of them, like this. So in this case, we do have two different signs. When there are two different signs, we subtract the numbers to find how far the answer is from 0, then use our number sense to compare the numbers and figure out if the answer will be positive or negative. In problems 3 and 4, we ended up adding the two numbers. And then again, the final answer was either the positive or negative version of that number, which we had already determined. What do these problems have in common? In this case, there are two of the same sign present. Again, we can place our invisible plus sign in front of this 65 so we can see that we do have two of the same sign. When there are two of the same sign, we add the numbers to find how far the answer is from 0. Then use our number sense to compare the numbers and figure out if the answer will be positive or negative. Notice an additional pattern here. In these cases, the sign of the answer matches the sign in the problem. Pretty cool, huh? Let's review some steps to help us solve addition and subtraction problems with both positive and negative integers. First, rewrite the problem if need be. Determine if the final answer will be positive or negative. Add or subtract the numbers depending on the signs. And then write your final answer, making it negative if necessary. Now, pause the video and try the rest of the problems in the chart using the new rules we discovered. Great work. For numbers 5 and 8, we see there are two different signs. Notice we can place a plus sign in front of that 1024. Then we can subtract the numbers. Number 5 will be positive, and number 8 will be negative. Remember, our other option for number 5 is to write it as 2,590 minus 521. It's all from there. Numbers 6 and 7 have two of the same sign. Again, notice that we could place a plus in front of 102. Then we add the numbers together. Number 6 will be negative, and number 7 will be positive. Now you can add and subtract integers. We've learned how to determine if the final answer will be positive or negative, and that we should add or subtract the numbers depending on the signs we see in the problem. After this video is over, you'll complete the practice game, then take on the activity found in your PDF. After that, you'll have an assessment covering the first few lessons in this unit. I'll see you next time. Hey, hey.